How did you and Christian first meet?
So we first met in the younger group for exchange language group. That's what he met me for the first time, but I met him at the theater. And my younger brother said, "Oh, he is my foreign teacher. He's so handsome." And I saw him, and I thought, "Oh, yeah, he's attractive." Um, and that was like 6 months before we actually met together.
We met at a language exchange group in Yangu. That's where I was living at the time. Well, we were both living at the time. And the foreign English teachers, like myself and the other Americans that were in Korea, traveled or went to a language exchange every Wednesday. And Harin had met an American English teacher at a cafe one time, and they connected over some social app, and the American teacher invited Harin to language exchange. So then we met at language exchange one day and then started kind of chatting from there.
What initially attracted you to Christian?
So firstly, when I just saw him, I thought he's just physically attractive, but I didn't think like I'm gonna date with him. But as I got to know, he was like calm and like thoughtful, and I thought he's really considerate person. And also he had a Christianity, and we talked a lot of things about Christianity, and I think I started to like him more after all the conversations with him.
What initially attracted you to Harin?
Initially, I guess just physical beauty. I think Harin's a really beautiful woman. Physically, she's kind of my ideal type. So initially, because I hadn't talked to her or anything, just seeing her at the cafe that we did the language exchange, I already felt like just a general attraction to her.
How would you describe Christian in one word?
I would say she's a 귀염둥이.
How would you describe Harin in one word?
Yeah, in one word, I don't know. I read this one earlier and couldn't think of an answer in one word. And the two things that come to mind would either just be Harin, just herself, Harin, or I guess after tomorrow, like mine, will be kind of united in marriage. So either that, just herself, like Harin, or mine.
So what was your first date like?
So I don't know if he thinks the same day as the first date, but he asked me to just meet up at the museum that I was working, and he just dressed up as like a art expert, and he just wanted to be funny in front of me, and it worked. So we just hung around all the museums and just talked about how funny the works are, and we just left a whole day, and it was fun.
What was your first date like?
First date. The first date was when I told her I liked her. Which was, we went to this it's a little island, like a little man-made island in Yanggu. It's called the Korean island because it's in the shape of the country of Korea. And we were planning on going on a trip together. And so we hung out that day. We went like zip lining from like the main part of Yanggu to the island. They had a zip line, so we did that, and we were hanging out. We had a picnic as well. I think we had some kimbap. And I remember the day before I had written like a script basically telling her like that I liked her, because I wanted to, I guess, rehearse it or practice how I wanted to tell her. But on the day, I couldn't say it the way I'd written it and kind of rehearsed it. So I just told her I liked her, and I brought it up in kind of the context of the trip we were going on, like asking, like, okay, like this trip we're going as, like, what are we basically going on this trip as? Is this going to be like romantic in any way? Is it going to be platonic? Is it going to be somewhere in between? And so at that point I told her like that I liked her and I was interested in pursuing something with her. So I would say that's the first date.
What is your fondest memory that you've shared with Christian?
I really liked that we went to go to Jeju Island, and I haven't told to my parents that we went to Jeju Island together, but we went, and I think that made us got really closer to each other, and also it was so comfortable when I was with him, so we just had really big fun in Jeju Island in Korea.
What is your fondest memory that you've shared with Harin?
That trip we went on was a really great trip. I think it was kind of it was like the foundation of our relationship. I had been interested in Harin, and I still couldn't tell if she was interested in me. Either I was bad at reading the signs, or she was bad at giving them to me. But in like a last ditch effort, I asked her on a trip because I'd wanted to go to these islands in Korea called Jeju, and I hadn't been before, and I knew she had a driver's license, so I kind of played it under like, hey, let's go together, and you can, like, you know, you can drive me around there. I need someone with a car. So that trip was really good. We were there for several days and got to know each other really well, and then decided we do like each other and like want to try some kind of just dating really and see where it goes. Nothing too serious at that time, but I was definitely really interested in her at that point. So that was a really good one because that was like the foundation of the relationship. Before that, we had some good memories before our relationship actually started. One time we were hanging out with the whole Yanggu group, and she had a snail in her hands or something, or I had a snail. A snail was crawling on me, and she called it ugly or something. And I was like, oh, don't call it ugly, it can hear you. And so she's like, oh yeah, and she like poked its eyes, like thinking they were ears or something, so she could like block it from hearing her. And so then I made some kind of joke about like, all right, you called it ugly and you poked its eyes. And that was the first time I think I had made her like laugh like hard. And so that's a good one I remember. But I don't know if I have a fondest memory. We've shared so many moments, really, really great moments through our relationship. I think those are good because they kind of led to the attraction and kind of was the foundation of the story. But since then, we've had so many building points in our story. But yeah, those are two that come to mind.
How would you define love?
I think just definition of love for me is changing a lot as time goes on. But for now, the most important thing of love is devotion. So it'll be really important for me to think about Christian first, then me.
How would you define love?
I would define love as sacrifice, selflessness, and action. And those are really thought out answers because I would do this with people. I was really interested in this exact question when I read it on your list. I thought, oh, that's funny because I've asked friends, like, give me 3 adjectives to describe love. And I've thought about it a lot, kind of what it entails. Is it a feeling? Is it a something? Is it whatever? And for me, that's what I think it is. It's sacrifice, willing to, and I think sacrifice and selflessness kind of go hand in hand. So it might be, redundant, but sacrifice, like doing something for the other person, giving up kind of other desires you may have had or other desires you may have for the other person. It kind of goes hand in hand with selflessness of like, putting that other person in front of yourself, before yourself. And then action, because I think love, I think a feeling, strong feelings often accompany love, but I think love is more than the feeling. I think the feeling itself kind of varies more. Sometimes it can be really great, like, oh, this is the best thing. Sometimes we'll argue and it's like, okay, like there's different feelings, and so I don't think feeling itself is love. It's more the action of like what I'm doing for you or what you're doing for me.
When did you know that Christian was the one?
I don't have like the moment that I felt like, oh, he's the one, but I've always felt like really just comfortable with him, and I could show myself, like real myself, and like it was different than others. And he always like, loved show his love more, so I could go forward. Like he invited me to America when he's living, and after that, when I went to America, he proposed me, so we got engaged, and now we're gonna marry. He always proposed surprising and good and happy things first, so I think it leads us to get together now.
When did you know that Harin was the one?
I don't know if there was a point where I knew she was the one. I think really early on, I wanted her to be the one. Really early on, I had a strong attraction to her, and I wanted her to be the one. And then after that, I think it was just different points of progression along the path of like confirming that she was the one. Not really figuring it out she was the one, but more like confirming she was the one. So I was, before we actually dated, I was supposed to leave Korea. My contract had finished and I was supposed to leave Korea. And I don't remember the exact timeline, but it was within a short period of time, like a month before I was supposed to leave. Or my contract was finishing. And a month before I was supposed to leave, or somewhere around that time, I decided I was going to stay. And part of it was due, like, I got an opportunity to work at a Hagwon, which is like a private academy. But I think, I know, like, a big part of that and accepting that position was because there was some interest, there was an interest in Harin, even though we weren't dating at that point. There was a interest in willingness to stay there and move into this new position and kind of see if things play out at all with Harin. And so I only renewed for 6 months because the Hagwon owner gave me the opportunity not to do a 1-year contract, just 6 months. So I renewed for 6 months, and then within those 6 months we started dating. And then I decided, like, okay, the relationship's going really well, I'm going to continue this relationship. So I extended the contract another 6 months, so I ended up staying there a year. Before I left, after the year was over, I kind of had the discussion or conversation that, like, I love you, I want to commit to you, is it something you're interested in pursuing after I leave? And she said she was as well. And then when I got back to America, I bought her a plane ticket to come to America as well. So then she came to America a little bit after I did, and at that point I proposed to her. And so it was throughout the relationship, I don't think it was ever like a decision, like, oh, this is when I decided she was the one. It was more like, I wouldn't say like, oh, I knew from the beginning she was the one, but it was, I guess, a hope or, desire for her to be the one. And there was different stages along that development where it confirmed, like, okay, yes, this is closer indicator, she is the one. Because I think obviously to be the one, it has to be reciprocated. So there was, put out, and she did too at different times, but it was different points along the path where it confirmed that she was the one.
Who said, "I love you" first?
He always say he's the first, but I think I was the first one.
Who said, "I love you" first?
Technically she did, but we had been drinking a decent amount that night, and we were out with some friends for a picnic, and then everyone was drinking, having a good time. And after that, we walked back. I was walking her back to her house, and she said she loved me first. But I was the first one to do it, sober-minded, so technically she did.
What do you most look forward to about marriage?
I really feel like stable when I'm with Christian, and I always tell him that, and he knows that. But I think if we marry, then it'll be upgraded, and I feel I'll feel really like I have a family now, and I have the best side of me, and he will be always be my side, even just no matter what I am. So I would be really just become a stable person.
What do you most look forward to about marriage?
I think I most look forward to the opportunity, I think, to develop and grow, but still having someone that supports you and almost as like a safety net. I think alone it can be difficult to pursue certain interests or just do different things, take different risks. I guess the risks change when you're married and when you're alone, but I think it's just knowing maybe the security, knowing that someone will be there for you no matter what, no matter if I fail as a psychologist, no matter if I whatever, if I get fired from a job, no matter all these different like seemingly important things, if all that goes astray, if all that goes, if all that fails, I'll still have someone that loves me regardless, and will be there as I get back on my feet. And then kind of on the opposite side, watching someone else and being that to someone else, being someone who is able to support someone and be someone's rock or comfort, security, of allowing that person. I can allow Harin to grow, and I can kind of foster, cultivate, or give her the space she needs to grow. And if she fails, who cares? Allow her to fail, because it's more, I think, it's not as significant because you have someone that you can fall back on.
What is your favorite thing about Christian?
I like how he talks. Like when we just when we have a confliction, he always try to say something nicely, and also like, just sometimes he's just try to say something cute because he knows that I like cuteness, and just the way he talks is really heartwarming.
What is your favorite thing about Harin?
Her playfulness. I think she's really playful. I think we act like idiots like most of our time alone. Just silly kind of conversations and play behavior, and I really enjoy that. I think one of my kind of downfalls or negatives is sometimes taking myself too seriously. So I think having someone where I can act, silly, or just do some comedy bit or pretend to be an animal or something, like just things that are kind of very lighthearted. I like having someone that I can, express that side of myself with, because it's almost the antidote to, the opposite side of me that takes things too seriously.
What is it that Christian does that annoys you the most?
I get annoyed when he is too slow. Like I'm a I'm a fast moving person, and like if I'm late for church or something, he just walk and like get everything he needs, and that's sometimes annoying.
What is it that Harin does that annoys you the most?
So many things. No, it's probably more something about my reaction to a certain behavior. Like when she, so I think the best way to kind of answer this is I like when she asks me things for things instead of like tells me things. I think this is more for psychology or a therapy session than it is for this. But I can get annoyed when Harin will say something like get my water or something. Even though we're comfortable enough where she can just say like, oh, get my water, like, oh, grab that for me. Sometimes, and it just depends on the situation or if I'm stressed or something, if she says like, oh, get that water for me, it annoys me because I like when she says like, oh, can you get that water for me? Or like if she says like, oh, like let me sleep on this side of the bed, or I want to sleep on this side of the bed. It's just the wording of how she words things sometimes, and it's really more of like my, I guess, desire to be appreciated or something, or like something like that. Of like, I like when she asks stuff instead of like says stuff or directs things.
What is it that Christian does that makes you laugh?
I like he does something silly but like cutely. He likes to pretend that he's a baby or something, and I really like it.
What is it that Harin does that makes you laugh?
I think Harin is just funny when she's silly. She's also witty. I think she has funny like responses to things, and I think it's especially like funny because it's in English, and English isn't her first language. So when she like makes a clever, funny response, it's even funnier because I know it like takes extra humor to be able to make a joke in your second language. But most of the time, it's just the silly kind of childish behaviors we do to entertain each other.
What makes Christian happy?
I think when I express my love more, then he really likes it. Telling him I love you every time, and just give him a touch and give him a sweet eye, then he would feel happy.
What makes Harin happy?
When like my sweetness, when I act sweet or cute, she likes cute behavior, and I'm starting to know like more like what she thinks is cute and what she doesn't. But just I think she likes softness and like sweetness, and that kind of behavior. She likes compliments and effort, like showing that I care about her and I'm putting an effort towards her and our relationship.
What makes Christian sad?
I think like when I get in a bad mood and when I get if I have something in mind about him and I don't tell him and just being quiet, then he doesn't like that and feel sad. So I'm trying to tell him how I feel more, and he doesn't like that maybe I don't say thank you that much to him, so I'm trying to just say thank you and be grateful more.
What makes Harin sad?
I think recently it's been maybe a lack of community because she has recently moved to America, so hasn't had much of a community, like let alone a Korean community, like American or Korean community. But recently we've started attending a Korean church, and she just hung out with some of the Korean adults that are around our age, so I think that's getting better. I think like feelings of like inadequacy or like lack of confidence or something that makes her sad. Like if there's a situation that she can perceive as like someone being rude to her or something like that. I think especially with cultural, like just her being new to America, she's already in a state of like discomfort being here, and so since she's already in that state, like if someone's rude to her, she might feel like she should take it too personally. And I think that happens with different situations, like going to a store or something, and the customer like service person like just says something like rudely or something, or even just kind of maybe directly instead of very friendly, she might take that as like, oh, like people don't like me or something. And so I think just recently, or since she's moved here, it's more things that make her sad, or things that where she doesn't feel like she has community, or she feels like an outsider here or something like that, or she's looked at differently for being a foreigner or something.
What makes Christian angry?
He hate that I cough in front of his face.
What makes Harin angry?
Maybe the same thing, maybe rudeness with like if she perceives rudeness from others. I think she also doesn't like American work ethic. I think Americans work at a slower pace than Koreans, so that can frustrate her sometimes. I think it makes her angry when if I'm not showing her enough attention or something, because I'm preoccupied with whatever's on my mind. That can make her upset sometimes.
What is Christian most afraid of?
Afraid of? I don't know. He didn't tell me what he's afraid of, but I think he would he afraid of like me just getting tired of him, or I don't know, he would believe in me, but yeah, I think just like our relationship, if our relationship goes bad, then he would try to fix it up, and yeah, but I don't know,
He's afraid of losing you.
yeah, and he doesn't want to tell me that he's afraid of things, but I really think he's afraid of bugs and like catching lizard or something.
What is Harin most afraid of?
She doesn't like the unknown. And that I think is why she's had a lot of stress with this move, because moving to another country is, you're in the unknown, and we've had a lot of moving pieces with like her getting into grad school and then trying to get married. Like everything is based on like a previous step. Like there's always some step we have to get through first before we can get to the next step, and so there's a lot of unknown, uncertainty, and I think that that scares her more than probably small things. Like she's scared of dogs. So I guess it depends which perspective you're looking from. She's scared of dogs. She's scared of the not the potholes on the ground, but like the grates on the ground. So she's scared of a couple different things, but maybe deeper things would be just uncertainty.
What is Christian's favorite color?
I think it's blue.
What is Harin's favorite color?
It was lavender when I first met her, and then I think she liked silver a lot at one point. I think every time I ask her it's a different answer, so I don't know what it is currently.
What is Christian's favorite Korean dish?
He likes most of it, and I think it's gopchang.
What is that?
Like pig instant.
What is Harin's favorite American dish?
Favorite American dish? Probably some kind of seafood. She likes seafood a lot. So some kind of seafood, but not really, maybe not American style seafood. What does she like a lot that's American? We eat a lot of Korean food. She'll cook a lot of Korean food. Or even if we cook, like, say we cook beef and veggies, we'll cook it with like different, like maybe Korean sauces or Asian style sauces. So I don't know what her favorite American food is. I recently started cooking her omelets, and she likes those a lot. And I can't flip the omelet right, so it ends up just turning into like Southern style scrambled eggs or something. But yeah, I guess out of what I cook, maybe she likes omelets the most, and then I don't know what her favorite overall American food is.
Does Christian want any children, and if so, how many?
I think it's up to me, he said, so it's my decision.
How many do you want?
1 or 2.
Does Harin want any children, and if so, how many?
It depends on when you ask her. Well, yeah, she wants them. She doesn't want to have them though. She definitely wants, and she wants her own kids too. Is the dilemma? She wants her own kids. I mean, maybe she'd be open to adoption. We talked about that some, but she definitely wants her own as well. She just doesn't want to have her own. And as far as how many, I don't know. I think she said she wants just one or two.
And the final question is, what message would you like to leave for Christian before the big day tomorrow?
Hi, Christian. Thank you for being my perfect fiance all the time, and I wish we improve our love in God, and I also expect me as a mature grown woman with you, and I look forward to be a great parent, and I also want that you get fluent in Korean, so we could speak in Korean someday, like freely, naturally. And I really love you, and you are the best part of me. Thank you for marrying me.
And the final question is, what message would you like to leave for Harin before the big day tomorrow?
I guess thank you. Thank you for, I think you do, I think you're braver than you think you are. Moving to America for me is a huge thing. I think you don't like insecurity or like the unknown, yet you're still willing to move to America for me and start a life here. And we don't know where we're going to be in the future with if I get into a PhD program, wherever that is, or if we're going to live in Korea after that, or really anything. So you're willing to kind of go through this uncertainty, which you don't like, for me. And I don't think you really kind of realize how big these things are that you're doing. I think you can have the idea that you're not brave or not something, and I think you are, because you're taking these huge steps to pursue love. And I think it's the best thing to pursue, but I think it's still scary. And you do this despite that, and don't give yourself enough credit for it. So thank you for that, and thank you for trusting me to, that I guess, better than the alternatives of you not dealing with uncertainty or you staying in Korea. So thank you, and I guess I promise to make it worth it, make it a good decision.